Hello, thanks for tuning in to today's virtual tour. I'm Christina, this is Cassidy, and today we are not at the Missouri Botanical Garden, but at another one of our locations, Shaw Nature Reserve in Gray Summit, Missouri, a little ways outside of the city of St. Louis. And we wanted to bring you out here today because the fall color is really starting up out here. It's really beautiful. There are a lot of trails that you can hike out here. It's a great place to get out to nature and see that fall color right now. So we wanted to show you a little bit of what's going on. So here in front of us, you can see some of that fall color right now. That yellow with the daylight coming through it is really nice. This is a stand of hickories.
Yeah, I think there's some hickory and probably some maple as well. This is a little wooded area near the Bascom House and the Whitmire Wildflower Garden as you sort of head away from that space and towards Cypress Lake, which is what you saw in the behind us. And as we kind of turn around here, and you can see, I mean, the blue skies, it's an absolutely gorgeous day to be out here, a little bit on the chilly side, but really nice fall day. And this is a feature that folks who have been out to the nature reserve are pretty familiar with, this lake that's kind of in between the Whitmire Wildflower Garden and the front entrance and visitor center. You can see all these bald cypress taxodium that are changing colors. Really, really pretty orange, copper, and also great because this lake is nice and still, so you see that cool reflection there in the water, picking up that blue sky. And there's actually a pathway that goes all the way around the lake. So there's a few vantage points beyond this, and you can see kind of in the distance there some prairie grasses. And so as part of our tour, we're actually going to go through the nature reserve a little bit and kind of show you the different manifestations of fall. It's not necessarily just about the colors in the leaves. There's lots of really pretty golden color in the prairies, and even on the glades as well. So we're going to hit kind of those habitats as we move around a bit, but this is a really nice spot to kick things off.
And there are 14 miles of hiking trails here at Shaw Nature Reserve, so there's plenty to enjoy. But today, so that we can show you a lot of it, we're gonna actually hop in the car and drive around one of the main roads called the Loop Road to show you a little more variety. So we're heading up from Cypress Lake now towards the Trailhouse.
Yeah, we're passing on the left here is the parking for the Wildflower Garden and the Bascom House, and so we're bypassing that a little. We're bypassing that spot, which is another great place to come and look this time of year. I can see all the pretty fall color that they've got in that area, but we're taking this road here, which is called the Loop Road, and you can see there's some sumac and some maples here as we're driving that are, the sumacs are that low red, and those maples are the really vibrant orange and yellow above it. So this is just on the side of the road here as we're we're driving along. This area in particular, I think, has a lot of maples. So maples are one of those trees that are going to provide a really noticeable pop of color that maybe some of the more muted native trees don't always showcase, like oaks. And one of the things that's sort of remarkable about this space that we're driving through right now is that it's actually been restored. This is a restored woodland that was, for a long time, had issues with invasive undergrowth, honeysuckle, privet, and so the folks out here at Shaw Nature Reserve have been really working to clear that understory of those invasives, and you can see it as we're driving along here, because your field of view goes all the way through the woodland, instead of hitting a wall of invasive honeysuckle foliage, which is what a lot of us, I think, are used to seeing in woods around here. So they've put a lot of effort into clearing out the invasives, and it really just adds, it can be subtle, but you get a really great sense just by having that ability to look through the woods and really pick up everything, especially here in the fall with all the different colors.
And there really is a lot to see even from the road here, so if you're unable to walk longer distances, or even if it's just a chilly day and you want to stay in the car, it's definitely still worth a drive through. And for those who live in St. Louis, it's a place to get away to nature that's not too far away as well. It's about 30-35 minutes drive down 44 from the garden.
And I'll actually, on the left here, Christina, on my side of the car here, you see this grassland, this restored prairie over here. The last time we were at Shaw Nature Reserve, this space was actually being treated with prescribed burning, and I think that was earlier this year, maybe January or February. And so they were doing a prescribed burn program on this piece of prairie, and you can see that all that burning, as dramatic as it looks at the time, the plants just bounced right back, and it's all nice tall prairie again. So the ecological restoration team here kind of bounces between management sections, and so if they burn this earlier this year, it'll get a year or two where it doesn't get burned, and they're burning another area, and then they'll come back and do this again. So they're on a cyclical program of using that prescribed fire to keep the habitats here, both in the prairie and in the woodland areas as well, and that helps with the invasives, that helps with overcrowding, and just generally keeps the areas healthy. So we crossed over through a deer fence and over a deer grate, which are in place to keep deer out of the wildflower garden. But they are definitely on this side of the reserve. Christina, you and I saw a deer earlier this morning when we first got out here. This is a time of year to keep an eye out for them on the roads for sure, and hopefully we shouldn't see too many right now. It's the middle of the day, not exactly their favorite time to be out and about. And again, we're just kind of passing. So this road that we're on, and some of these roads that you see off to the side here that say no motorized vehicles, these are all walkable roads that are something we've seen hikers on all the time out here, and so they're sort of an extension of the trail system, if you will, if you're not taking a dedicated trail. So we're coming up through more prairie here, and just up and around the corner is the Trailhouse. Pull in here at the Trailhouse, and we'll get out and walk a little bit more. This is a spot that for anybody that is coming out here, the trail system from the Trailhouse gives you the ability to access the Merrimack River and some really neat glades and some pretty cool overlooks. So we're gonna hop out here and go take a look at some of those things.
So we've hopped out of the car here. We're across the road from the Trailhouse right now. We just wanted to get out and take a look at this area because there's quite a bit of color here. Some of those smaller reds that you're seeing in the landscape are dogwoods, which is really a great tree. They have flowers in the spring and such a great color in the fall. They've also been showing color for a while now, and the leaves are still sticking around, so it lasts for a while. And then here you can see this larger yellow tree is a hickory. It looks from here like a shagbark hickory, looking at the shaggy bark. So a lot of nice color in this area here.
And this is a good spot too. If we turn back around, you can kind of see the rolling hills at the far side of the prairie that encompass the reserve, and then also sort of broader Franklin County beyond the borders of the nature reserve. And you can see from this vantage point all those little pops of color that are in the landscape right now, where there's still a decent amount of green to be seen out there, but lots of little bits of orange and yellow and red creeping up on those hillsides in the distance.
Yeah, I don't know that we're quite at peak yet, like Cassidy was saying, with all the green. I think there's still plenty more color to come.
Yeah, and actually, this since you bring that up, normally we're sort of used to peak fall color in the St. Louis area being sort of the last week of October, first week of November. So this is a little bit delayed to what we're used to. Temperatures were a little bit warmer, maybe, but even just thinking back to last year and when fall colors changed, we're at least sort of a week behind.
Maybe 2 weeks even.
From where that was, so. So this is the Trailhouse. which just has some facilities for folks who are setting off on their hike, picnic tables and restrooms and things, and good place to get out of the rain if you get stuck on a rainy day. But it can sort of set you off in a few directions from here. It's a nice big circular path that you can take that'll kind of cut through some glades and down the side. And there's a cool overlook over here, so maybe we'll head over there and and see what we can see from the overlook. Or maybe let's go this way.
Wildflower Trail.
Yeah, I mean there's a
little overlook
a
out
little,
there too.
Yeah. I mean, you really can't go wrong. You pick one trail and you'll end up kind of walking on all three of them by the time you make your way down to the river and back up.
Yeah, this is probably the area that I come to most frequently when I come out to Shaw Nature Reserve. There's just a lot to see on these three trails, and none of them are terribly long. So you can get a lot of sightseeing in without exhausting yourself.
And we drove here, but this is connected by trail through the prairie to the Wildflower Garden and the Bascom House as we came through. So yeah, we're out on this little boardwalk, sort of overlooking a glade habitat here.
Here's a little sumac that we can look at up close, actually. This bright red that you'll see lower in the landscape, probably throughout this whole tour. It's really vibrant and it sticks out in the prairie.
Yeah, and another place where you can see, again, that sort of rolling hill effect in the distance, and see where colors are starting to take shape. And again, just a beautiful day. I mean, the blue sky, I feel like it was kind of gloomy towards the end of last week, so
it was.
It's a really nice day to be working remote, as it were.
You can also see, as we're walking along here, sort of signs of the past season here, where you can see these coneflower heads. I don't know how well those really show up, but there are a lot of them. And during the summertime, this is a really, really cool area to come and see. Just swaths of tons of yellow coneflowers and other colors too, but just a lot of yellow.
Yeah, and those are all seeds, I believe, that are remaining here on the heads of the coneflowers. So a lot of times if coneflower is something you grow in your own home landscape, there are folks that would tell you to just leave those stalks as they are being left here, because this is food for wildlife. So some people cut back those spent flower heads for aesthetic purposes, but there's definitely some value in leaving them be as well. You can see a little bit of goldenrod that is past peak as well in this area. And some oaks that are getting some color on them. We'll just walk a little bit deeper down the Wildflower Trail, and as we go you can kind of pick out off to the side. There's some yellow here and there.
Orange too. And a little bit of red.
This is an oak hickory woodland habitat, so you've got a lot of the yellows that you see are from some type of hickory that's changing color. I can tell you that some of the hickory species that we have at the main garden campus in the city of St. Louis, those are also super vibrant right now. I think we showed those off last week just as they were starting to turn. So you're seeing that same thing reflected in a much more natural setting beyond the garden walls out here at Shaw Nature Reserve.
Well, we kept hiking and we made our way down to the Merrimack after all. So not the overlook view, but a really beautiful view of the river right now during this season. So you can always come out and hike here at Shaw Nature Reserve. Like we said, there's 14 miles of hiking trails. So we didn't show you anywhere near everything there is to see out here today. Definitely encourage you to come out this time of year. In the fall, it's a really beautiful time. Thanks for tuning in today, everybody. We will see you next time.